Children's Ministry friends, thanks for joining me. My name is Jason, and over the next few minutes, I just have a few encouraging thoughts that I'd love to share with you today. Now, earlier this afternoon, I had to take my daughter to the doctor, and as we were sitting in the exam room waiting for the doctor to arrive, I tried to distract her with a Where's Waldo poster that happened to be hanging on the wall. Now, the picture showed Waldo in space with all kinds of aliens and astronauts bustling around a crowded planet. Finding Waldo was trickier than I thought it would be because they just crammed those pictures full of so much stuff, so many characters and vehicles and other objects that make it hard to spot Waldo himself. It's tricky to spot Waldo because the picture's so busy. And it got me thinking about how in our day-to-day ministry life, sometimes it's hard to spot God. Why? Same reason. It's because our lives are so crowded, so busy. There's so much going on, so much activity that it can be challenging to find God in the midst of it all. After 20 years of children's ministry, I know that serving kids can be one of the toughest jobs in the church. Recruiting leaders, keeping kids safe, planning events, ministering to parents, and trying to create a great experience for families when you often don't have enough time, money, or help. That can be hard. And I know it's not just hard, it can be lonely. You may not make it into worship as often as you'd like, may not have the opportunity to participate in the life of the church like everyone else. You may be a lone voice recruiting leaders, and in fact may not even know how you're going to cover your rooms for this coming Sunday. And the weight of all that responsibility, it can be crushing. And on top of all that, you may feel misunderstood. Your church leadership or the parents in your ministry, they may not get what you're trying to do. They may dismiss children's ministry as childcare or babysitting. They may not understand that your nursery isn't so much about diaper change, it's about life change. They may not understand that what you do has the potential to transform entire families and impact generations to come. Children's ministry can be a thankless job. It's behind the scenes, under the radar, and you might feel forgotten, underappreciated, and think that no one sees the value in what you do. But I'm here today to tell you that's not true. There is someone who sees you even when you don't see him. Do you remember the story of Hagar from the Old Testament? Just a quick review. In Genesis 15, God told a man named Abram that he was going to have descendants more than the stars in the sky. Only problem, Abram and his wife Sarai, they were old and childless. And so they waited and waited and waited for this promise to come true. But after a while, Sarai took matters into her own hands, and she suggested that Abram sleep with her servant Hagar to provide the child God had promised. Not surprisingly, this was a bad idea. Hagar got pregnant, and then things turned ugly fast. She and Sarai turned on each other. Sarai started mistreating Hagar, and finally, when Hagar couldn't take it any longer, she fled into the wilderness, lonely, rejected, miserable. There was no one to help her, no one to understand her, no one who saw her misery. Well, almost no one. The Bible tells us that God saw it all. And he sent an angel to go visit her and to tell her to go back home, that everything was going to be okay because he wasn't done with her yet. In fact, he promised to give her more descendants than she could even count. See, even when no one else understood what Hagar was going through, God did. And when no one else cared, God did. And when no one else saw, God did. This one encounter with God changed Hagar's entire relationship with him. She came to see him in a whole new light. She called him El Roi in Hebrew, the God who sees me. In children's ministry, friends, he's the God who sees you. When you're tired, discouraged, feel like giving up, God sees you, he loves you, he cheers you on. His message to you is the same as it was to Hagar. I see, I understand, and I'm not done with you yet. The best is yet to come. 2 Chronicles 16:9 says, "The eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him." Now, you know the best part about Hagar's story wasn't just that God saw her, but it was that she saw him. She said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." And that's my prayer for you today, that in the midst of the crowded busyness of everyday life, when you're lonely, when you're tired, when you feel misunderstood, I pray that you will see the God who already sees you. He loves you. He is pleased with you. So don't give up. Keep loving his kids and keep praying that they will see him in you.